Okay, so next we're going to look at our quantity takeoff functionality. Again, this is new functionality to Civil 3D. We can go in and automate the process for creating our quantities on any project. We can assign codes to our corridor that will link those into our QTO. We can go in and select objects in the screen by layer, by lines, by color, pipe networks, blocks that we've inserted. We can use all of these as part of our quantity takeoff list. So in doing so, we've got to do a little upfront work. We need to go in and set up a file that contains our pay item list, and we need to load that into the software. So we'll go over to the Analyze tab on the ribbon. We'll click on it, and the ribbon will pop up with some new panels. We'll go over and we want to click on our QTO Manager in the panel. This opens up the QTO Manager Vista or Panorama, and here we need to open up the pay item file. In this case, I've already created the file, so we'll click open and we'll go out and find where those files reside on our hard drive. Like I said, this particular file is a CSV file. It's comma separated value. We can create those in any Excel spreadsheet, any kind of spreadsheet software that will save a CSV file. We can use those to create them. So we go out, we select the file, click open. Now we want to get a categorization file. So we'll go out and we'll click on that one, and we'll go find it on our hard drive. We'll bring it in, and now we're ready to go. So we click OK, and now we see a listing of all of our divisions. If we expand some of those divisions, we'll see that we have subsections under each one. These divisions are searchable. So if I know a particular text that I want to search for and see how many items it contains, let's say asphalt, for instance, I can type in asphalt and click the filter button, and nothing happens. So obviously I forgot to turn off the categorization. So to run those filters, you have to turn off your categorization. We'll turn it off, we'll run the filter again, and now you can see a listing of all the pay items that include asphalt as part of their description. Now, if I know the pay item number, I could also go in and type in the pay item number and run the filter that way. So let's try that and see what happens. So here we'll type in item number 60902-0800, and we'll run the filter, and you can see that curb and gutter concrete 10-inch depth pops up. So we can search by description, or we can search by number. So let's turn our categorization back on, and if I expand one of the nodes here, you can see that I get my groupings. And let's go down to some permanent pavement markings. If we expand that node, now you see that we have the sections listed, but we don't have any subsections shown. So once we've turned that categorization off and turn it back on, we probably need to go back in and reload our file. So we will go in and let's reload the file right quick. So we'll come up to our file, open, everything's still saved. We'll reopen it. Now let's go back down and expand division 600. Scroll down to our group 634, expand it. Now we can expand the subsection, and we can see the different listings. So in this case, we're going to use 634.01-0300 pavement markings type B solid. So now we want to assign that pay item to different items in our drawing. So I'm going to zoom around a little bit, bring in the parking lot so that we can see it, and let's add some striping. So to add the striping, I want to use the QSelect function. So I'll type in QSelect, then I'll hit enter, and it's going to take a second to read the file. tells me that there are 181 objects in the file that are not selected, so we'll say OK there. And now we want to go in and apply this to the entire drawing. We're going to say that the object type that we're looking for is a line. We're going to change our property that we're filtering these by to layer. The operator is going to be equals, and we're going to change the value of the layer to parking stripe dash aisles. We're going to include it in a new selection set, but we're going to turn off the append to current set. So we'll click OK. That selects all of the center lines of the parking style or the parking aisles. So we've got our center line stripes. Now we need to go back and pick up the style parking stalls. So to pick those up, we'll run the QSelect function again. So we'll just hit enter. Again, we're going to include them in our new selection set, but we want to append the current selection set. So we'll click append. Then we'll bring up the same warning box. We'll click OK to dismiss it. We're going to change the object type again to line. We'll change the properties to layer, and our operator will still be equals. We'll go in and we'll select the layer for parking stripe stalls, and we'll click OK. Now we can see that all of those stripes have been added, and now we need to add the pay item to them. So if we go back into our QTO manager, we have a button that assigns the pay item to the object in the drawing. So we'll click on that button. So we need to go back in and select the pay item from the master pay item list. So we'll go back in, pick it out of our list. We'll hit enter, and the screen will scroll through saying selected pay items assigned to objects. And if we rest our cursor over one of the center lines, we can see that the pay item has now been associated with that line. If we moved our cursor over and rested over one of the parking stall stripes, we would see that same pay item added to those. Now, as I said earlier, we can go in and add these pay items to pipe networks, our striping. We can add them to our corridor model itself, so we pull in our asphalt, concrete, curb and gutter, concrete sidewalks. If we have an area like a planter in the end of this island, we could actually add multiple pay items to it. So say we had 6 inches of topsoil that we needed to put down. We needed to put so much fertilizer on it and so much water. We could add those 3 pay items by going back up into QTO Manager, selecting the pay items and holding the control key down as we selected the other 2, and apply all 3 of those to the same closed area. The only caveat there is the area needs to be closed. So once we've created the QTO, we've added different items to our pay items, what do we do next? Well, we'll close the QTO Manager, and now let's say we want to run a report. So I'm going to pan out a little bit so we can have an area to paste our report. I'm going to click on the takeoff button. Clicking on the takeoff button brings up our compute quantity takeoff dialog. We have the option of creating a summary report or a detailed report. The summary takes all of the items and adds them together for the different pay items. If you do a detailed pay item or report, it gives you an individual item for each occurrence in the drawing. So this case, we're going to apply it to our drawing extents. We could limit it to a certain section along an alignment if we needed to. So if we needed to create quantities on a per page basis on plan and profile sheets or something like that, we could make those changes. And then we have a report output where we can modify the way the report is outputted. So we'll click on the compute button, and the software will go in and read through the drawing and see the items that we've added to the different pay items, and it'll compute those quantities for us. In this case, it's going to take a few seconds.